Natalia on Luxury with Natalia. A very warm welcome today to my special guest all the way in the USA. And this is Integris Aviation Consultancy. How are you today?
Good, excellent. Thanks for having me, Natalia.
Excellent, David. So what's going on in the US and what's going on in aviation? I mean, we're finding ourselves in a very challenging time, not just for the average people, but also for big corporations and business aviation. So I'd just like to get some insight from you there.
Well, as you know, aviation is diverse, and you have the two sides, the commercial aviation, which is pretty much shut down for all practical purposes right now. On the private side, we're seeing a mixed bag. We see charter flights are in demand, and people are moving around trying to keep their businesses running, keep their people moving, not to have to expose themselves to large crowds. You also see some owners starting to park their aircraft. Some are starting to dispose of their aircraft. I just had a deal fall apart yesterday. A buyer backed out of a deal. So, these things are just the initial rumblings of this new reality. But I think that, in the medium term, perhaps not in the short term, but in the medium term, private aviation is going to become even more important for all the reasons that, it is already important, but even more so going forward.
That's right, because business aviation is a tool. It's not considered as a luxury per se. For example, if we compare it with yachting, then a yacht is mainly used to do things in the downtime side, but a business aircraft is definitely for the purpose of using for travel within the business sense. So individuals now are more and more aware of that opportunity of also being alone and not being in the crowds, like you rightly mentioned there. But what is the situation? Can people still fly now if they are in private?
Sure, absolutely. There's no restrictions on that. They can fly. Obviously, airports are having different challenges as far as with staffing and with the FBOs. Here in the U.S., there's about 500 airports that serve commercial airlines. There's about 5,000 airports that serve private aviation, so 10 times the number of airports, which really allows you to pinpoint more closely where you're going to, which is the whole idea, to minimize that wasted time on the ground getting from the airport to your meetings. And so, out of those 5,000 airports, there might be some different businesses that are closed or under reduced staffing. Fortunately, we're going into a better time of weather as far as the year is concerned. We've started our springtime here, and so we don't have to deal with snowstorms and icing and things like that. But no, there's no restrictions. Otherwise, people are moving around, and they're just trying to find their footing in this new environment. It's really, I hate to use that term, but uncharted territory. But that is what it is.
I guess it's testing us as well. And in a way, I mean, I'm one for saying that there's always a positive spin to something that might have a negative impact because it creates opportunity. So perhaps it's also time to be creative and to utilize this downtime for most of us to think about, okay, well, how can we still be operational or be there for our clients? So I'm keen to know what you're doing personally for your clients in this time.
Well, I'm reaching out to them, first of all, on an individual basis and just checking to make sure that, if there's anything that I can be helping them with. I'm also, I just mentioned to you that I'm opening up a small studio here in my office so that I can do more virtual work and virtual meetings. I'm connecting with other industry professionals and sharing ideas, pooling resources, trying to find ways that we can add value. I've got a conference call later today to do that with a couple of other companies that help with preparing aircraft that go into storage, for example. You're going to see a lot of aircraft going into storage, and those aircraft have to be stored properly and according to the regulations. You can't just park it in a hangar and forget about it. So I'm partnering with a couple of other small companies to see, how can we come up with some products to go to people that are in that situation and make sure their aircraft are taken care of. So that when times get better and they decide to fly again, those aircraft are airworthy and ready to go. Otherwise, they're going to have a real problem on their hands.
That's right. I mean, for those of you who don't know in this audience, an aircraft needs constant maintenance, and there's a lot of rules and regulations that need to be adhered to. So the fact that an aircraft is stationary does not mean that life ends there for it, which I think is also a huge impact by the fact that a lot of mechanics and pilots, well, mainly the mechanics, have to be there to maintain these aircraft. But if they're confined, we have a reduced workforce, so people are more and more in demand. So this is all like snowballing at the moment, doesn't it?
Yep, absolutely. So those are some of the things that I'm doing, and just we all have to take care of ourselves as well. We have to watch our inner game. We have to watch our emotional state. We have to stay positive. We have to exercise. We have to do things, because this will eventually end, this phase of it, but then we're going to have new challenges to deal with. We're going to have economic challenges. Business is going to have to grow again, but that, I think, is where the opportunity is, Natalia. I think that private aviation is going to be able to be a fundamental ingredient to that rebuilding, not only in the U.S. but in the UK and Europe and everywhere, South America. A private aircraft is going to become an essential tool like it's never been before, because people may or may not want to get on an airliner for a while after all of this. And the other thing is that the airlines' schedules will be gutted. They're going to be filleted going forward. They're going to be reduced 60, 70, 80%. You're not going to be able to get around like you used to. So the airlines just aren't an option to move at the speed of business. Business is going to have to be done, quicker, more efficiently, getting more results with fewer resources. And that just has private aviation written all over it. And we're ready for that challenge. And so I know that a lot of us in our industry are getting ready for that phase of it. It's not here yet, but when that happens, then this industry is going to be stepping up to the plate so that we can help business get back going.
That's amazing. Absolutely. And that's good that you are sharing these insights. I didn't know about that in terms of the schedules. I did read a thing or two about if the aircraft do not do their or maintain their usual time slot, they can lose that, and that's it. They can't get it back as easily as it might seem. So that's something kind of a good thing to know and for people to understand. And similarly, like if we compare it with yachting, a lot more charter yachts are going to come into spiel because people want to be isolated. They don't want to be in the big hotels with lots of people around. So it's a new dimension of travel and a new dimension of enjoying that free time or the necessity of traveling in a private jet. So amazing. And it's no surprise then that you've been voted as an expert in your field by Corporate Jet Investor. Tell us a bit more about, on a positive spin. Let's move it on.
Well, I'm a big fan of Corporate Jet Investor. I just love the work that they do and the way they bring people together and have these unique type of conferences with TED Talks and networking. So I've been involved with Corporate Jet Investor for about 5 years now, and they came up with a program, I guess it was last year, where they went around to different regions of the world and took nominations for the top 30 deal makers in Asia and Europe and in the Americas. And so, I was voted as one of the top 30 deal makers here in the Americas with all the work that I've done in South America and Brazil and here in the U.S. And it was fun. It was a fun experience, and I'm in good company there. A lot of worthy competitors and friends. We all know each other. And it was a great experience. But Corporate Jet Investor is a fantastic organization. There's also they also have the Super Yacht Investor conferences as well. So I'd put a plug in for them here as well on that. But they're just a great group of people based there in the UK, and they have conferences all over the world, and they just do a fantastic job.
I do miss those events for sure, and I'm a little gutted that I won't be seeing all you amazing aviation professionals at eBay this year in Geneva. So we'll have to hang in on there and utilize the new technology. Thank God we have that. So FaceTime Skype. And how are people reacting to this new way of communication?
Well, it's not entirely new, but there's a lot of people that are using Zoom, for example, for the first time, and they're realizing just how easy it is. And so I think that people are taking advantage of it in ways that they didn't before. You're seeing families. I got a screenshot the other day of my brother's whole side of his family with his in-laws where they get together and they have, they talk and just share things. I personally, with my son and his kindergarten class, we've had video chats with his friends just so they can stay in touch and compare their artwork that they've been doing at home and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, and with business as well. I mean, it's just it's going to become an integral part of the way that we do business. So, which I think is great because it adds a visual element to communication like we're doing here. This is different than a phone call. And it's just much better because we can see each other and read each other's body language, and it's just a little more personal.
I was going to say, and sorry I interrupted you there earlier, is this going to mean that people are going to be working more from home maybe after this whole episode is done and saving money on rents and whatnot? I mean, of course, if you have family, it's a little complicated, but perhaps for those smaller businesses, this is an opportunity to do it a different way, considering that we're all now communicating in this new way.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of changes, Natalia, that come out of this. I think some of people's mass transit travel habits are going to change. They may be less willing to get on, forms of mass transit. It's going to affect a lot of things, and one of the things it's going to affect is how we work. And so, but again, Zoom and Skype and some of these other things, GoToMeeting, they've existed and they've been utilized, but never on this scale. And people are I think one of the things that's going to push companies to maybe open up their work from home policies and maybe not have 100% work from home, but maybe allow people to work from home a day or two a week. That's good for the environment. It keeps you off the roads. Your car isn't running. They were already doing that here, but it'll be done even more so in the future. I think that there's limitations to working from home. You lose that group environment. There's maybe less structure that is necessary to keep people on task, but there are types of jobs and ways where it can be handled, and video chatting is just going to become even more important in the way that people do their work.
Amazing, yeah, sure. And so going back to like what your day job is and what you deliver to your clients. So you work a lot with family offices and company leadership teams. Give us a bit more insight about what that means.
Well, I've had my business now for 10 years, and it started out as a business-to-business company helping other businesses to grow. And over time, I became more involved directly with end users, ultra-high net worth individuals, family offices. And that's why last year I really rebranded my company to reflect that new reality. Family offices around the world have exploded in the last 10 years. And so, with the explosion in family offices comes obviously a host of decisions that are made by that family office with regard to the amenities that it's offering its family, yachts, homes, vacation homes, villas, and the aircraft. So more and more family offices are taking part in the decision-making process when it comes to the aviation strategy of the family. Because it's not always a wholly owned aircraft. Sometimes it's a fractional, sometimes it's charter, and many times it's a mix. So who's qualified to sort through all those issues and really do what's best for the client in an independent way? And so that's what I've begun to offer to family offices in that case is the ability to be an independent voice, I guess, somebody that can bring an independent perspective and not be beholden to any one manufacturer or any one mode of transportation, but really do what's best for the client. So that's one of the things that I focus on with family offices.
Okay, wonderful. And is this worldwide, I suppose? It's not just in the US. You are targeting absolutely the whole continent as well as abroad. Yeah?
Principles are the same, and obviously with today's technology, as we've talked about here, it's it's easy to do business around the world. So there really is no particular region that I focus on. I have typically focused on the Americas, North and South America, but there's nothing to say that a client in Europe or Asia or Africa couldn't benefit from the types of services that we provide. We do some maintenance oversight for people that already have assets. We do some different benchmarking studies for people that have aircraft and want to know if they're operating them in the best way possible. We do sales and acquisitions, leasing. So anything that has to do with aviation, we're able to help clients. And if we can't help them directly, then we have a great network of professionals that we tag team with and bring them into the fold when there's something really specific that needs to be done. And that happens a lot too.
Fantastic. And so just to end this wonderful interview here, I wanted to know what would be your key advice here to the people out there who might be owners, principals, in terms of this situation that we're faced in here?
Well, I would just have them remember that private aviation is certainly a luxurious way to travel. There's no question about it. But at the same time, it's an extremely effective time management tool, and it is really a key ingredient to regrowing their companies, and it's a key ingredient to their family leisure strategy as well, as far as moving their families to places where they can relax and spend time together. I think that one of the things that's coming out of this whole experience collectively around the world is just the importance of family. People are realizing just how important family is, and they're spending a lot of time together now as families, and that might drive them to want to do something on a vacation somewhere. But that's what I would just let people know is just, the temptation may come just to not travel privately because of the cost, and there might be some short-term reasons to do that, to curtail travel. But in the long run, private aviation is perhaps one of the greatest time management tools that's ever been invented, and it really enhances the lifestyle of people that can afford it and can take advantage of it. So, hunker down for now. Let's get past this phase. But then once the coast is clear and companies are going to get back into doing business and hiring people, it's going to be more important than ever to be flying privately, because it allows you flexibility and safety and security that the mass transit options, the airlines and such, just can't touch.
Absolutely, and probably some good deals also that are worth looking out for.
Yes, absolutely. You're going to see a lot of aircraft that are available for purchase and discounted over the prices that were just there even a month or two ago. So you will see a lot of good opportunities. So for sure.
Thank you. Okay, and if anyone wants to reach out to you, David, how do they go about doing that?
Well, they can certainly, the best way is email. David at integrisaviation.com. And then I'm on LinkedIn, so easy to find, David Clark, Integris, and just reach out to me there, and I'd love to have a conversation and just listen and see what you have going on and see if there's any way that we can help, and love to have a conversation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, David. This has been a real pleasure. I'll get you off on your way to do your business. I'm sure it's really busy as well, considering all the pre-work you got there. So everyone, thanks for watching this episode. This was Natalia Luxury with Natalia. More episodes coming on real soon. Thanks for watching and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.